Recognizing the 7 deadly sins of ego can be a crucial step towards personal growth, and it's an essential part of developing silent mastery. When we acknowledge these patterns of thinking and behaving, we can begin to overcome them and unlock our full potential. Unchecked ego can be incredibly damaging, not just to our personal relationships, but also to our own well-being. When we let our ego control our actions, we become more prone to conflicts, poor decision-making, and a hindered ability to learn from our mistakes. It's no wonder that ego has been referred to as the ultimate saboteur of personal growth. Conflicts arise when our ego takes center stage, and we become more concerned with being right than with finding a resolution. This isn't just limited to our personal relationships. It can also affect our professional lives, leading to stagnation and a lack of progress. The devastating effects of unchecked ego are multifaceted. Not only do we become more defensive and closed off to new ideas, but we also start to prioritize our own interests over the well-being of those around us. This can lead to a breakdown in communication, trust, and ultimately, the relationships we value most. In extreme cases, an unchecked ego can lead to a complete disconnection from reality. We become so convinced of our own superiority that we start to ignore the advice and feedback of others, convinced that we know better. It's a dangerous path to tread, and one that can ultimately lead to our downfall. Let's take a closer look at each of the 7 deadly sins of ego and explore how they manifest in our daily lives. Pride is perhaps the most obvious, where we become so enamored with our own accomplishments that we forget the efforts of those who helped us get there. Next is envy, which rears its head when we start to compare ourselves unfavorably to others, often leading to feelings of resentment and inadequacy. Then there's the sin of gluttony, where we overindulge in our desires, whether that's material possessions, social media validation, or even just attention from others. The 4th sin is lust, which isn't just limited to romantic or sexual desires, but also includes an insatiable appetite for power, control, or wealth. The 5th sin is anger, which can manifest as aggression, hostility, or even just a deep-seated resentment towards others. Next is greed, where we become consumed by a desire for more, whether that's money, status, or influence. And finally, there's sloth, where we become complacent and lazy, often letting our ego convince us that we're already good enough and don't need to put in any more effort. So, how do we overcome these 7 deadly sins of ego? The answer lies in silent mastery. This transformative approach involves recognizing our ego's patterns and learning to let go of our need for control, validation, and superiority. By doing so, we can tap into a deeper sense of inner peace, confidence, and wisdom. Through silent mastery, we can develop a greater sense of self-awareness, allowing us to catch ourselves when our ego starts to take over. We can learn to respond rather than react, taking a more mindful approach to our interactions with others. This, in turn, can lead to deeper, more meaningful relationships, as well as a greater sense of personal fulfillment. The benefits of silent mastery don't stop there. By letting go of our ego's need for control, we can also become more open to new ideas, more receptive to feedback, and more willing to learn from our mistakes. This can lead to a faster rate of personal growth, as we're no longer held back by our own insecurities and fears. In conclusion, recognizing the 7 deadly sins of ego and applying the principles of silent mastery can be truly life-changing. By acknowledging our patterns of thinking and behaving, we can break free from the limitations of our ego and unlock our full potential. Thanks for watching, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the 7 deadly sins of ego in the comments section below. If you want to dive deeper into the topic of personal growth, be sure to check out my next video, where I'll be exploring the power of self-reflection in achieving a more balanced and fulfilling life.